It's out of here. It's out of here! Dom Smith!
He has been spectacular. Dom Smith will be at first base tonight, second in the National League in slugging coming into the night, and this is a slugger's ballpark, Camden Yards. Mets will have 7 left-hand hitters in the lineup tonight, including Dom hitting third, Robinson Cano playing second base, hitting cleanup, as Pete Alonso DHs tonight. J.D. Davis still out after taking a fastball off his hip. Andres Jimenez gets a start at short, Luis Guillorme at third, and Ali Sanchez, who might not be here tomorrow, is behind the plate today facing Asher Wojciechowski, whose name almost fits on his jersey.
Wojciechowski, I was just thinking the Mets did see him when he was in the Cincinnati Reds uniform, and since we did that thing on Dom Smith, the first batter he faced was Dom Smith, who hit a home run. His last start was against the Rays. 4 innings pitched, 3 runs. He's given up 7 home runs so far in limited innings. And the defense for the Baltimore Orioles, Chance Sisco behind the plate. We saw Rio Ruiz when he was in an Atlanta Braves uniform, Velasquez, Valleca, and Nunez across the infield. It's funny, there are only gold glovers, Iglesias, and he's the DH tonight. Mountcastle, Mullins, and Santander.
Mets' last trip to Camden Yards was in 2018. Luis Rojas celebrating his 39th birthday today. Happy birthday, Luis. Mets could use a nice 20-5 stretch to give him a good birthday present.
You know what managers want on their birthday, Gary?
A win.
Yes, the same.
Everything, every year, right?
39. I mean, how young is that for a manager?
It is young. The guy in the other dugout, Brandon Hyde's only 46 in his second year as a big league skipper. Last time the Mets came to Camden Yards, Brandon Nimmo had himself a show. He went 7 for 8 with 2 doubles and 2 triples. See what he can do for an encore at Camden Yards these 2 days. Wojciechowski's first pitch is up and away for ball 1, and we're underway. Nimmo, .397 on base percentage start in the night. Conforto on deck, Smith behind him. Left-hand hitters all against Wojciechowski, against whom lefties are hitting just .240. And a fastball away, and it's 2-0. As Ronnie mentioned, Wojciechowski has been elsewhere. He's been through 8 different organizations. There's a strike, 2-1. This is his 3rd big league team. Last year, 17 games, 16 starts for the Orioles. Had a 4.92 ERA, lots of home runs, and of course this is a ballpark that yields home runs readily.
Well,
fastball thrown by Nimmo, and it's 2-2.
Gary, I'll tell you, doing the research today, it was the first time that I could ever write down on my pad here that a ball player had learned how to play in Bucharest, Romania.
His parents were missionaries. He lived in Romania for 3 years, lived in the Dominican Republic for a while. Slapped on the ground through the open hole and into left field, and Nimmo starts another series at Camden Yards with a hit. Now 8 for 9 in his last 3 games in this ballpark.
I'm going to wait to see what organization with 2 strikes moves their infielders back into semi position. I mean, every game it's 3 or 4 of these hits with 2 strikes.
So the Mets have a leadoff base runner, and now Conforto, who got his first non-start yesterday. He pinch hit in the 9th inning and made the final out of the game. But Michael had started every game before yesterday. Just 3 hits in his last 17 at bats. He's cooled down a tad. Nimmo at first and nobody out. And Wojciechowski gets the curveball in for a strike, and it's 0-1. Michael starts the day 8th in the National League in batting at .317. Mets as a team have the highest on base percentage in the league, the 6th highest slugging percentage. And he gets jammed and rolls it foul, and it's 0-2.
Pretty good breaking pitch from Wojciechowski. The Orioles, like the Mets, are trying to find some consistency with their starting pitching. They have not, especially the last 14 games.
Long hold, the 0-2 to Conforto, smacked on the ground to third, a chance for two. Out at second, the relay to first in time for the double play. 5-6-3 on the double play, 2 out and nobody on.
Good job by the shortstop Velasquez to realize that was right at Ruiz, and he did the cover.
Well, this is a unique shot of Asher Wojciechowski warming up before the game.
I feel like the Mets are going to confiscate this tape so that they'll be able to play it for their hitters to watch the stuff of Wojciechowski as you see that breaking ball.
It really is a unique look. You don't get that kind of view very often from right behind the catcher.
We need that at Citi Field.
Kind of what the umpire would see. Here's Dom Smith, who homered against Wojciechowski at Citi Field when Wojciechowski faced the Mets 3 years ago as a Red. Dom starts the day second in the National League in slugging percentage, 7th in batting average, and he rolls over the breaking ball foul, and it's 0-2. Stats with Lowe's. Only Juan Soto has a higher slugging percentage in the National League. Soto hit 2 home runs and a loss yesterday. Second time he's done that this year. Dom's playing first base today with Pete Alonso DHing. Mets are 15 and 20. The Orioles are 15 and 19. So they're in very similar circumstances. Here's a good breaking ball by Wojciechowski to strike out Smith. And so the Mets put up a 0 in the top of the first. Ariel Jurado takes the mound when we come back. And they've needed that. Their best player, Trey Mancini, is not playing this year because of colorectal cancer, which he is recovering from. So they've had to get offensive contributions from some other people. And there is Ariel Jurado set to make his Mets debut.
Well, we wish Trey well. The Toyota numbers for Jurado, you can see his starts in the 2019 season, 18 for the Rangers.
Mets picked up Jurado for cash and a player to be named later on August the 5th, and now 4 weeks later getting a start. Cedric Mullins, switch hitter, leading off. And Mullins takes a fastball for a strike at 94 miles an hour. Jurado's only 24 years old, native of Panama. And really just getting his feet wet in the big leagues. 32 games, 18 starts last year with the Rangers. And Mullins takes a fastball inside. It's 2-1.
Signed by the Rangers out of Panama when he was 16 years old. He'll have a lot of sinking action if it's right with his fastball tonight.
He lowered his arm angle when he was in the minor leagues so he would get better action on that sinker. Bunted by Mullins. Good bunt. Barehanded by Guillorme. No chance. And Cedric Mullins has his 7th bunt hit this year, by far the most of anybody in the major leagues.
Well, that had to be in the scouting report, but when you make a perfect bunt like Mullins did, a little late reaction from Guillorme, but when it's on the line like that, it's very hard to get anything on the throw if you're a third baseman. Disguised, last second, perfect bunt down the line. Boy, that's as good as it gets.
The Orioles now have a dozen bunt hits this year. That's twice as many as any other team in the majors, and Mullins leading the way. So now here's Anthony Santander. 10 home runs. Third in the American League in RBIs with 29. Leads the American League with 24 extra base hits.
Orioles did a nice job. Got him on a Rule 5 draft from the Cleveland Indians.
Santander, a part-time player last year, and Jurado sailed that throw, and Dom Smith pulls it down. When he was warming up, Jurado had those glasses up on top of his cap. Made him look somewhat alien. Looks better with them on his eyes. Santander, another switch hitter. They've got 3 switch hitters in the lineup with Mullins, Santander, and then the number 9 hitter, Andrew Velasquez. Santander, much better left-hand hitter than right, though, hitting almost 100 points higher from the left side.
His last 16 games, Gary, he's slugging .652 with 6 home runs.
The Orioles can hit. They've got some guys having really terrific years. Santander is one of them, and the guy on deck, Jose Iglesias, is another. And that trickles away from Dom, but Mullins stays put. Mullins has 3 steals this year in 4 tries.
This defense for the Mets. Ali Sanchez gets the start behind the plate. Cano back at second base with his 2-time Gold Glove. Guillorme gets a start at third. J.D. Davis available but not starting. McNeil, Nimmo, and Conforto across the outfield.
Mets are going to have some player moves to make tomorrow when their 3 new guys arrive. None of them active for today. And Santander takes the fastball outside, and it's 2-0. The Orioles lost 108 games last year. They lost 115 the year before that. They are in year 2 of a rebuilding project, and they seem to be finding some parts. Santander pops one up on the left side, and Guillorme waits for it to come down. And that's the first out for Gerardo. The Orioles started out well this year. They started out 12-8. They've lost 11 of 14 since then. They won the final game of their series from the Blue Jays yesterday in extra innings after dropping the first 3 in that series. And they won it when Jose Iglesias made a relay throw to the plate to throw out Lourdes Gurriel to end the game. Iglesias, always a gifted fielder, but having himself a revelatory year with the bat. 970 OPS. That's more than 200 points higher than he's ever had in any season in his career. So he's even DHing sometimes this year. He'd never DH'd before in his life before this season. It's the 6th time he's done it this year.
11 for his last 24 with 4 RBI.
Last year played in Cincinnati, hit .288. And he smacks one toward the gap in right center. And Nimmo will have to play it on hop. Has to reach back to barehand it. Mullins to third. The throw coming to second is cut off. It's a double for Iglesias. Nimmo overrunning that ball and somehow managing to snag it on a hop with his bare hand. That saved at least a run.
No, Gary, first the pitch. High sinker up in the zone and tattooed there into right center field. But what happened is that Nimmo was hustling after this ball, but when it hit the turf, it kind of bounced straight up and not straight through. So it bounced behind him, and just an awfully good play.
So Iglesias has his 12th double of the year, and Gerardo's got a mess to deal with in the first inning. 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. And the power-hitting Renato Nunez steps in. Nunez, 7 home runs this year after hitting 31 a year ago. Infield back. And the slider out of the strike zone for ball 1.
Nunez got a chance to play once they traded Manny Machado.
The Orioles have made some nice pickups for minimal dollars. They got Nunez on waivers from Texas.
Saw the Orioles before the game doing something I've never seen done before. The entire team took batting practice off a pitching machine.
So it's like hitting in the cage, but
outside,
but on the field.
Yeah.
Mullins at third, Iglesias at second, and Nunez just got a piece of that slider and fouled it off, and it's 1-2.
The machine was probably at around 50 feet, right in front of the rubber on the grass.
So about where the coaches pitched from.
It was throwing, it seemed, 85 plus. It was throwing pretty hard for BP.
So harder than the coach's pitch.
Much harder. There was no loop in it.
Oh, now you're going to get some guys on your back. 1-2 on to Nunez. Hit to center field well. Back goes Nimmo to the warning track. Back at the wall, and it's out of here. Renato Nunez with a home run dead central. A 3-run shot. And the Orioles jump out to an early 3-0 lead. So Nunez with his 8th home run of the year. And Gerardo, who gave up a lot of home runs with Texas last year, gives up a bomb in his first inning as a Met.
Gary, it was interesting. He had gotten ahead of him with some bad swings from Nunez on his breaking ball and then tried to surprise him with that sinker away and got it up just like the pitch to Iglesias.
So 3-0 Baltimore. Corrado last year in 122 innings for Texas gave up 21 home runs. There's Chance Sisco, the left-hand batting catcher, and he takes ball one.
Now the Texas Old Stadium, that was a launching pad, but so is this.
And Sisco trying to drop down a bunt with the Mets playing the shift on him. Sisco part of the three-headed Baltimore catching rotation, along with the former National Pedro Severino and the well-traveled Brian Holiday. Sisco the only left-handed bat of the three. And he's off to a good start. OPS just under 900. And he takes the pitch high, and it's 2-1. Sisco, a guy who was a highly touted prospect when he first came through the Orioles farm system, second-round draft pick, who has never quite found his footing. But hitting fifth in the order today, and takes the curveball for a strike, and it's 2-2. And you've seen what Gerardo brings. He brings 4 pitches, a lot of sink, not a particularly hard thrower. 2-2 coming to Sisco, and he hits one out to right field, chasing Conforto back, and this ball will go short, hopping against the wall. Sisco heads to second, and he's in standing with the 3rd consecutive extra base hit for the Orioles. A double by Iglesias, a 3-run homer for Nunez, and now Sisco with a long double to right.
The fastball was supposed to be in off the plate, bled back over the middle, and his fastball so far has not fooled the Orioles hitters.
Ball off the bat, Conforto did not get a good read on it. I'm not sure he would have had any chance to catch up with it anyway, but it seemed like he paused a beat before going back. Jeremy Hefner out to talk to Gerardo, who had been working at the Mets' alternate site in Brooklyn since they acquired him 4 weeks ago. So, you know, for most of these guys, it's their first time getting to meet and see Gerardo.
Yeah.
Your Verizon player profile on Ariel Gerardo. One time a well-regarded prospect in the Texas organization. Pitched for the Rangers in 18 and 19. Now Ryan Mountcastle, rookie left fielder who just joined the Orioles 2 weeks ago, making his 10th start, and a slider to start him off, 0-1. And Mountcastle off to a good start. First-round draft pick in 2015. Signed as a shortstop. They used him at third and at first, but his time in the big leagues, he's been playing in left field. A guy who physically has been compared to Ryan Zimmerman.
Can see that.
Mountcastle just 23 years old, hit 25 home runs, hit .312 in AAA last year. And he's off to a fast start. His OPS over 1,000. Down on the count here, 0-2. And the breaking ball fouled off.
Well, obviously, when Jeremy Hefner came out to speak to Gerardo, told him to make sure he uses that breaking ball more. 3 straight ones to Mountcastle.
Last year with Texas, he threw his fastball 64% of the time. But, you know, the trend in baseball is throw your fastball less, throw your secondary pitches more. And he goes away with the slider, and Mountcastle holds the swing. 1-2.
Gerardo looks to me like he'd be a classic tweener, Gary, a guy that lives on the bottom of the zone, but might be trying to make some pitches up in the zone to what is fashionable today.
Mountcastle hitting 6th in the order. Rio Ruiz on deck. And that pops away from Sanchez, but not far, and it's 2-2.
Good block here by Sanchez. Just sticks out his chest to block that baseball and keep it in front of him.
Ali Sanchez, just his 4th big league start behind the plate. 2-2 to Mountcastle, and he chops one foul. 24 pitches already in this opening inning for Ariel Jurado.
Gary, in 26 games started, this is his 27th. This first inning ERA has been 6.5, so the first inning has always been a problem for Ariel.
It's going to get worse today.
Just not going to help.
7th pitch of the at-bat coming to Mountcastle. And he struck him out with the slider. So Jurado has his first strikeout in the second out of the inning.
It's got to be a sharp breaking ball because we've seen some bad swings from the Orioles hitters when he uses this pitch.
Started it off the plate and it stayed off the plate. Yep. So 2 out. Now Rio Ruiz, the left-hand batting third baseman, who we saw a few years ago with the Atlanta Braves. First drafted by the Houston Astros. They traded him to Atlanta in the Evan Gattis deal. And then he got to Baltimore on waivers after the 2018 season. And Ruiz flies one out to left center. This one's playable. And Nimmo drifts over and reels it in to retire the side. But Renato Nunez with a 3-run homer to get the Orioles off to a fast start, 3-0 after 1.
Team is on its heels right now. It needs some inspirational play and some big offense here for the rest of the game.
Todd, come on, join the team. Here's Robinson Cano, who loves hitting in this ballpark, and he shoots one foul, 0-1. .356 average in 88 games at Camden Yards, including 15 home runs. It's the highest average for a visiting player in the 29-year history of Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And Cano flies this one along the right field line. That may fall in, and it does for a base hit. Didn't hit it well, but he plunked it into right field, and the Mets have their second hit.
It was one of those rare breaking pitches that kind of jams the hitter. And when you're going good at a certain park, they all fall in. There's a breaking ball just right in on the label, but strong enough to kind of muscle it out there. And the right fielder was playing in the right center field gap, so no chance for him to get over there.
So the Mets have a leadoff hit for the second straight inning. Nimmo was erased in a double play in the first. Now Jeff McNeil, who had an encouraging day at the plate yesterday with a pair of doubles. Both of those coming off a left-hander. And he takes a strike from Wojciechowski. McNeil hitting 5th in the order for the first time today. So this season, McNeil has hit in 7 different spots in the batting order. Every one except cleanup and 9th. I mean, you figured when the year began that McNeil would hit 1st or 2nd in the order and he'd stay there all year. But first of all, the Mets' batting order has changed almost every day. And second of all, with McNeil struggling, it has caused him to be dropped in the order at times, trying to find the right spot for him. And Wojciechowski runs the slider inside, and it's 1-1.
I thought in the first game of the doubleheader on Friday, the late double and then the walk against Chapman in front of the Rosario home run might have got him going.
Cano at first and nobody out. And McNeil pops one foul out of play. 1-2. Asher Wojciechowski, 31 years old. He played his college baseball at the Citadel. Not too many Citadel Bulldogs make it to the big leagues.
I was thinking, is Mike Clevenger, did he go to the Citadel? Was just traded to the Padres?
Remember Britt Reams, pitcher a few years back, went to the Citadel. First round draft pick by Toronto back in 2010. As we mentioned, bounced around to 8 different organizations before arriving in Baltimore. They got him in a cash deal from Cleveland last year in the middle of the summer. That's pulled down the right field line by McNeil, and that's a fair ball bouncing into the corner. It stays in play. Cano goes to third, and McNeil pulls in at second base with a double. So McNeil, after 2 doubles yesterday, has his 8th double of the year. The Mets have second and third and nobody out.
Well, this is great to see. McNeil is heating up. Not a good breaking ball from Wojciechowski right in the middle of the plate. And the question was, would it stay fair? And those high walls down the right field line, where a lot of the equipment will go in, kept this ball in play.
With that ball basically kicked up chalk dust along the line. You see the high wall there. Got to have a high wall because it's such a short porch in right field. So second and third and nobody on. A chance for Alonso to get the Mets right back in it. Pete is DHing today. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike. It has been a devilish time for Pete Alonso. 3 for his last 31.
As a me, Gary, every time he comes up for this first at-bat, there's ducks on the pond. Every time.
Well, and with runner at third and less than 2 out, he's only gotten that run in 3 out of 12 this year. And he takes it high. Well, he doesn't see a lot of pitches in the strike zone, but then it's incumbent upon him not to chase. And that's been an issue this year. But to your point, Ronnie, he's had more plate appearances than anybody in baseball with runners in scoring position. 56 plate appearances this year.
You know, I've been always clamoring for that stat, Gary. We always get the RBI stat, but we never get how many players or percentage of players has the hitter driven in.
Right.
You know, his chances.
It would actually be a really interesting stat to formulate.
Yeah, I would love
opportunities with runners at third, second, first, how many out, and figure out a way of weighting that. Popped up in foul territory, and Nunez, watch it sail out of play.
Really very little foul territory here at Camden Yards. One of the first parks that they built that is pro hitter.
So you had to have an opportunity to pitch there, right?
I did.
I mean, is it as scary a part to pitch in as there was when you were playing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, scary. You're not scared of the park, but the results seem to be skewed after you leave the mound every time. Usually a couple of runs more.
Tight dimensions, low fences, not much foul territory. 1-2 coming to Alonso, and he takes that inside. 2-2. Luis Guillorme is hitting 7th in the order. He's on deck. The Mets as a team have only gotten the runner in from third with less than 2 out 44% of the time this year. That's second to last in the National League. Mets have left more runners on base than any team in baseball. Got a prime opportunity here. Second and third and nobody out. And Alonso flies it to center field. Coming over is Mullins into right center. Tagging at third is Cano. Cano comes home. The throw goes to third, and the Mets have a run on the board. So Alonso gets a run in with a sacrifice fly. His 19th run batted into the year, and that cuts the Baltimore lead to 3-1.
Good job. Cut a gutty at bat by Pete Alonso to get that run in. Nice decision by the center fielder to throw to third base there.
So Cano comes home with the first Met run on the Alonso sac fly. McNeil holds at second with 1 out. And now Luis Guillorme. Guillorme starting at third base for the second straight day. After J.D. Davis took one on the hip Saturday, played Sunday, but then it started to act up on him. They had him out doing some running before the game to see if it would loosen up. J.D. is considered to be available off the bench for the game today, but Guillorme getting the start. Guillorme's had 35 at-bats. He's reached base safely in 12 straight games. And they play him pretty much straight up on the infield. He's been doing a great job hitting the ball the other way. And he can't get to that curveball, and it's 0-2.
Gary, we said Wojciechowski, you said, went to the Citadel. Clevenger did go to the Citadel.
Really?
Yeah.
They've probably both grown their hair a lot longer since then.
That's right. Couldn't wait to grow it.
Not a lot of hair flowing out from under the cap at the Citadel. Wojciechowski said the great thing about going to the Citadel is that people are yelling abusive things at you 24 hours a day. He said it really toughens you up.
Boy, he liked that.
He said it was the greatest thing that ever happened to him.
Sounds like home to me from 6 to 12.
A whole different generation. 1-2 coming to Guillorme. And Luis takes that breaking ball inside, and it's 2-2. It is a real struggle for the person who puts the letters on the jerseys to find enough room
To space them out correctly, right?
Armpit to armpit. Right, because the W's and, the I's, they don't take up the same amount of space, so you have to, you have to really plan.
I think you should be able to put Wojo.
Well, on Players Weekend, for sure. There's no Players Weekend this year, is there? We don't get those white-on-white uniforms this year.
Not enough weekends.
What a shame. Andres Jimenez on deck. 2-2 to Guillorme, and the breaking ball hit up the middle, a base hit. McNeil around third, he's going to be waved home. Mullins' throw goes to second, so Luis Guillorme comes through with an RBI single, and the Mets are back to within a run. It's now 3-2.
Well, I don't think you could be any happier with what you've gotten from Luis Guillorme this year. Remember, when the season started, because of Jimenez's start, he saw no playing time. But when he did get his chance, he made the most of it. Every time he's been in the lineup, he's been a positive and a run driven in here. Which really makes the decision that the Mets are going to have to make tomorrow that much more difficult, right? With Todd Frazier joining the team, somebody's going. Now, if you have to choose between Guillorme and Jimenez right now, who's it going to be? Well, my decision is if they're not going to play a lot, and they're both in the lineup tonight, then Guillorme stays. But if they're going to play, I think Guillorme's got to go.
Here's Jimenez now playing shortstop tonight with Rosario getting the night off. And this is almost like a last audition for the two of them. Because any way you splice the roster, with Frazier coming in, one of those two is going out. Jimenez has cooled down offensively, but he had a big hit late in the game yesterday. Came off the bench with a pinch hit single in the ninth to try to ignite the Mets. Just his second hit in his last 18 at-bats. So Wojciechowski, after getting a 3-run lead, has handed the two of them right back. Still only one out in the inning. Guillorme not a big base stealing threat, but Wojciechowski paying him plenty of attention. So you're not allowed to go in the video room during the game to check out your at-bats, but Pete Alonso looking at a still photo. That's like the old Polaroids they used to bring down for the football coaches, right?
That's right.
On the sideline.
For the defensive positioning.
Jimenez yanks one foul.
Not many of these hitters being fooled on either side so far.
Well, Ronnie, you referenced the Orioles the last 14 games. They're starting pitching. Not pretty. I mean, who's their ace? Alex Cobb at this point?
And he right now is not an ace anymore.
I mean, John Means had a great rookie year last year, but he's
been hurt, and
his ERA is 8.5. We'll see him tomorrow. Here's the 1-1, and it runs inside to Jimenez, 2-1.
It's incumbent on both of these pitchers. They're breaking ball pitchers, right? So every time they throw a fastball, it's got to be a strike or have a purpose, and they have not done that so far.
The Orioles set up a double play depth. The old double play combination of Valleca and Velasquez. Valleca and Velasquez. And that cutter misses down, and it's 3-1 to Jimenez. We mentioned that Ariel Gerardo had a home run issue last year. Well, so did Wojciechowski. Last year, in 82 innings with the Orioles, he gave up 17 home runs. And he's especially had an issue at Camden Yards. 17 home runs and 58 career innings in this ballpark. That's a ton. Jimenez grounds one foul. Hey, let's take a look at the Spectrum high-speed pitch for two pitchers who are just trying to stay in this game. Arado has been a little bit quicker than Wojciechowski.
Tepid numbers, very tepid. I think you have to start Guillorme here. I don't see any pitch that Wojciechowski has that Jimenez should not be able to handle and put in play.
3-2 and 1 out. Guillorme runs, and Jimenez strikes out on the breaking ball. Cisco's throw on a hop, and Guillorme gets around the tag on that one bounce throw. So it's a strikeout for the second out, and Guillorme steals the base, his second of the year.
Well, I'm wrong on a pitch that eluded the bat of Jimenez as he strikes out on the 3-2 breaking ball. And Velasquez was in there quite late as the song and dance from Guillorme and Velasquez. Yeah, I thought he might have tagged him there, but he never had a reaction like he did.
I think he missed him. He moved his foot out of the way, you see?
Yes,
right. Yep.
Wow.
It was a nice little okey doke there by Guillorme.
Guillorme makes like the Matrix here.
Well, anybody who can catch a bat the way he can elude a tag. So the tying run in scoring position with 2 out. Now Ali Sanchez looking for his first big league RBI. 1 for 7 in his brief big league career. And he takes a fastball away for ball 1. Get that foot in, pulled the foot out, got the hand on the bag.
Kind of serendipity. He stuck that left foot in the ground and it kind of curled up underneath him. That's why Velasquez missed the tag.
Look, he didn't pull anything.
Yeah, right.
Sanchez wails at the cutter and misses, and it's 1-1. Wojciechowski threw just 11 pitches in the first inning, 25 pitches already in the second. That's a score twice on an Alonso sac fly and a Guillorme RBI single. Sanchez trying to pick up Guillorme from second. Settle in. Should be here for a while.
You know, the fault there is that Velasquez was trying to hold his position defensively, but he's got to get to the bag. He was late.
And Sanchez late on the fastball, and it's 1-2.
Can really hear the benches and all the bench talking by the Mets players imploring Sanchez to have a good at bat.
I mean, that's great, but I hope we're on a delay.
Yeah,
because you just never know what's going to be blurted into those microphones.
Unless the language has changed from my day. I don't think it has.
Well, I mean, you can have, FCC violations in at least 2 languages.
That's right. It's Cano with his hitting coach.
It's very up close and personal. 1-2 coming to Sanchez, and the breaking ball off the plate, and he lays off. 2-2. And if Sanchez can keep the inning going, Brandon Nimmo would be next. Unless the Mets decide to go with 3 catchers, this will probably be Sanchez's last day in the big leagues for a while, with Robinson Chirino set to join the team tomorrow. 2-2 coming, and he fouls it away and stays in there.
You can really hear him getting kind of cheers from the bench to stay in this at bat, pick up a 2-out RBI.
Of course, the Mets' other backup catcher is Tomas Nido, who's on the injured list, and don't know when he'll be back. 7th pitch of this at bat coming to Sanchez. And that stays inside 3-2. And the complicating factor with Nido when he's ready to go is that he's out of options. So unless the Mets kept him on the roster, they would risk losing him. As they lost Walker Lockett today, who was claimed by the Mariners. after they designated him for assignment.
They've lost some pitchers, huh? Once they've DFA'd him.
3-2 coming to Sanchez. And he takes the breaking ball, and that just missed, ball 4. And so Ali Sanchez works out a walk. That was a really good at bat.
Yes, it was. Fouled off some difficult pitches.
So that prolongs the inning. Wojciechowski up to 31 pitches in this inning. And we'll get Brandon Nimmo to the plate with 2 men on. Nimmo poked one the other way through an open spot in the infield in the first inning. And they're going to play him straight up this time, or more so. First time Ali Sanchez has drawn a walk in the big leagues. So Nimmo bats with 2 out and 2 on. And Brandon grounds one right at the second baseman, Valeka. And that retires the side. Mets get 2 runs back and trail 3-2 in the second. Well, 1992 was when Camden Yards opened. This was the first ever regular season game at Oriole Park at Camden Yards with Rick Sutcliffe on the mound for the Orioles. Do you know that before that game, the Mets played the first ever game at Camden Yards, an exhibition game a few days earlier with Sid Fernandez pitching,
who would end up becoming a Baltimore Oriole at some point.
All I can tell you is it was freezing. But it was a nice park. It's still a nice park. It was the first of its generation of retro ballparks. And Valeka leading off in the home second.
We had a tough team in those days. And Sid, who was so good but very deliberate. And guys would come in on the bus on Sundays, getaway day, and they'd see Sid was pitching and be like, oh, no way, not Sid. Because it would take so long in those days.
Well, the downside was that, yes, he pitched deliberately. The upside was for the first 5 innings, he never gave up a hit.
Ever. Ever. With about 10 punch-outs.
Pat Valeka takes outside 2-2. The quintessential Sid Fernandez game for me was a game in 1989 in Atlanta when he struck out 16, tried to finish, and gave up a 2-run homer to Lonnie Smith in the bottom of the ninth. Here's Sid.
I mean, what a great career he had. It was fun to pitch with Sid. He used to have some magical games where hitters just had no chance.
He looked different in terms of the way he released the ball than anybody else I've ever seen.
Yep.
And I don't know who first coined the expression, but it looked like he was pitching uphill, which is hard to do when you're on a mound that's elevated above the rest of the field. That's pulled down the left field line by Valeka, and that goes foul.
I think Sid's last game, Gary, in the minor leagues before he came up to us, he struck out 17. And they were like, we just can't keep him down in AAA anymore. Here, join the staff. And he was great from day one.
That's got him in a deal with the Dodgers.
That's right.
I think it was Carlos Diaz and Bob Baylor.
Bob Baylor, yes. Steal.
It was one of the great Frank Cashin steals of all time. 7th pitch of the at-bat coming. And Valeka drives one to right center field, and that's a base hit. So Gerardo, after the Mets sliced a couple of runs off the 3 runs he gave up in the first, gives up a leadoff hit in the second. And the Bronx native Andrew Velasquez coming up against Gerardo, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, you mentioned it earlier in the game that Ariel Gerardo was at one point a relatively highly touted prospect for the Texas Rangers. Still pretty young, still has some potential, but talking to people who have watched him for a number of years now, the biggest thing that's held him back is really getting some secondary pitches consistently at the major league level. For the most part, because his sinker has been his only reliable pitch, hitters at this level sit on it and have really been able to crush it. Last year, when he did come up, he had a stretch from about late April to mid-June where his stuff was playing up. He got that slider working really well, and had an ERA just over 3. But then, from what I've been told, he got out of shape a little bit the second half of last season. Velocity dipped across the board and had a 7.25 ERA in those last 18 games with his stuff not having quite as much bite.
Now facing Andrew Velasquez, switch hitter out of Fordham Prep, who fouls one at the plate.
Probably the best athlete on this Orioles team. He was not only a ball player, but a sprinter and a high jumper on the track team.
Originally drafted by the Diamondbacks, last year played with the Rays and the Indians. Orioles got him on waivers back in spring training. And Velasquez takes a slider low and in. It's 2-1. I don't know how many Fordham Prep guys have made it to the big leagues. I mean, there have been Fordham University guys, Pete Harnish, Frankie Frisch. It would appear as though Velasquez is the only player drafted out of Fordham Prep. Here's the 2-1. Pulled past Smith and into right field, a base hit. The Lake at a second. He'll stop there as Conforto gets it in. So back-to-back hits by the 8 and 9 hitters for the Orioles. And Baltimore has 6 hits against Jurado his first time through the batting order.
Well, he's trying to pitch in with that sinking fastball, and it's coming over the middle. So to a left-handed hitter, down middle is going to be scalded.
There is not any action as of yet in the Mets bullpen. You would have to think that Franklin Kilome, who was under consideration for making this start today, would be the length guy out of the Mets bullpen. It's a little unclear right now what the role of Robert Gazelman is. Luis Rojas said before the game today that Gazelman, who has not made a start in a while, is not available in the bullpen tonight. The Mets pitching plans are in a bit of the state of flux, as they have been for a good portion of the season. They're going to start Michael Wacha tomorrow, and beyond that they haven't announced anything. Here's Cedric Mullins, who bunted his way on his first time up and bluffs a bunt again.
Now you see, if you take a look at Guillorme and this defense, most of the time you play in front of the bag and let the pitcher field that ball over there. You've got to come up and make the play, because I don't think the pitcher Jurado is going to be able to cover enough room. So if the ball's laid down, Guillorme should make the play.
And he drops down another beautiful bunt, and Guillorme this time is able to nip him by a stride at first base. It took a terrific play by Guillorme to get him. They'll give Mullins credit for a sacrifice, but he came within inches of another bunt hit.
Well, someone has spent a lot of time working on his bunting, because just another good bunt. And he deadened it. That's what made it such a close play.
I have not seen a left-hand hitter lay down bunts like that consistently since Juan Pierre.
It's nice to watch.
So second and third and one out. And Anthony Santander comes up. He popped up his first time up. Mets keep the infield back except for Guillorme at third. And Jurado starts him off speed, 0-1. Santander with 2 in scoring position, 29 RBIs this year, 3rd in the American League. 25-year-old from Venezuela, just coming into his own, part-time player last year. And he takes a slider low and in, 1-1. Again, the illness that befell Trey Mancini really opening up playing time for a lot of these Orioles, including Santander. Mancini was really, he was their best player, the face of the franchise, and the hope is that he'll make a full recovery and be ready to go for spring training next year.
Kind of their de facto captain.
They've had some other injuries to deal with this year. Of course, their highest paid player is Chris Davis. He's on the shelf with some knee tendonitis. Their center fielder Austin Hayes, a rookie who'd been playing well, fractured a rib. He's out. Their most of the time shortstop last year, Richie Martin, broke his wrist and he's out for the season. So they've been able to give opportunities to some people who might not otherwise have had any. All right, I've got a Fordham Prep guy who made it to the big leagues before Andrew Velasquez.
Okay.
Snuffy Sternweiss.
Snuffy
Sternweiss, who came up with the Yankees during the war years and played 8 years with the Yankees. He was a Fordham Prep guy. You realize that the chuckling in our truck is our Horace Mann guy, Greg Picker.
That's right.
Who knows that, they had, the number 2 pick in the draft out of Horace Mann, Pedro Alvarez. They're the competition for Fordham Prep. 3-1 now to Santander. Who else went to Horace Mann? Harrison Bader, right?
Yes, Harrison Bader. All those prep schools there. Fordham Prep, Horace Mann, Iona Prep.
Corrado behind on Santander, 3-1 with Jose Iglesias on deck. 3-2 Baltimore. We're in the second. Both bullpens are still quiet. I think both managers realize this could be a very high-scoring game. And you don't want to pull the plug too early. And Santander swings over the changeup. And maybe the best off-speed pitch that Jurado's thrown, and now it's 3-2.
Got to be a hard position to be in. Your manager is quizzing you about the pitcher on the mound, and he's in trouble.
And you've never seen him before.
And you don't really have a lot of answers. And he's trying his best, Skip.
And Santander hits one toward the hole, and that'll go through for a base hit. Valleca comes in to score. Velasquez stops at third. Santander with his 30th RBI of the year, and the Orioles now lead 4-2. That is 7 hits through the first 11 batters against Ariel Jurado.
2 changeups in a row. The first one was good because it was in the dirt. This one was middle. Santander stayed back with 2 strikes and good hitting.
And Luis Rojas saying to Ali Sanchez, let people know where they should be.
Plus safety squeeze. He's telling them safety squeeze is an option here, even for a third-place hitter.
Iglesias doubled to right center and scored a run in the first. And he takes a slider off the plate for ball 1. It's a delicate balance right now if you're the Mets, right? I mean, your pitching is thin. That's why Jurado's getting the start today, coming off 3 doubleheaders in the last week. That's bounced foul. But every game is of utmost importance. You've got only 25 games left in the season, including today. You're 2 games out of a postseason berth, and you just can't afford to play fast and loose.
I didn't know that your comments warranted any music, but it was good.
I think that that might be a good position. They've established this position this year of the crowd noise controller.
Yeah.
We should have on our broadcast a musical accompaniment professional.
That'd be great.
So that when Keith sighs, there's a certain piece of music that plays, or when you make a particularly pithy observation, there's a different piece of music that plays.
I love that. Love that story. SNY DJ.
Is that ours or is that in the ballpark?
I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty loud. I don't know what is in our ears or what is out at the field anymore.
I just know it's not coming from here at Citi Field where you and I are sitting.
Oh, it's quiet here.
I hope so. Here's the 1-2 coming, and that comes up and into Iglesias, who has to vacate, and it's 2-2.
That was one of those four-seamers that ran up and in.
Hirado threw 26 pitches in the first inning. He's throwing 24 more here in the second. Still only one out. Runners at the corners. 2-2 to Iglesias. And he taps one on the ground down to third. Jimenez stumbled. He goes to second for one. That's all they'll get as a run comes home. Jimenez, as he went to field that ball, looked like, Guillorme, when he fielded that ball, looked like he lost his footing. He got the force at second, but Velasquez comes home with the second run of the inning to make it 5-2.
Well, the read there with the swing could have been that it's not hit hard enough to turn two, but I don't think there was any play at home either. So the correct play to go around the horn and hope.
I just don't understand why he lost his footing coming in on that ball. Not that he would have been able to double up Iglesias anyway. So 2 runs home in the inning, 5-2 Baltimore, and now Renato Nunez, who had a 3-run homer his first time up, takes a fastball for a strike. Iglesias at first with 2 out. Nunez's home run was his 8th of the year. And that goes to the backstop, and that'll move Iglesias to second. A sinker that Sanchez couldn't quite reach.
Well, some sloppy play here early. That ball's got to be caught. A little sinking fastball running inside.
Could that have been a cross-up?
No. Because you would have had a reaction from the catcher of a cross-up. It's just supposed to be a 2-seamer away, and he just didn't really. He wasn't buttoned up on that.
Nunez chases a slider, and it's 1-2. Not yet heard whether they're calling that a wild pitch or a pass ball. I think and they now call it a pass ball.
Correct call.
Seems like it. One-two coming to Nunez, and he tied him up. Did he go? He did not. First base umpire Chris Conroy gives him a pass, and it's 2-2.
That was close. Let's take a look. No, he held it back. Good strength there from Nunez. See him ask the umpire to check.
Usually it's the catcher who wants
right.
the check. I guess he meant don't call it yourself. And he just got a piece of that to stay in the at-bat. So Gallardo trying to put Nunez away, and Nunez with a check swing and now just barely ticking that slider to stay in the at-bat. Coors Light beating the pressure. The Orioles have the second highest batting average in the American League. They're a very aggressive team. They don't walk much. They have an enormous amount of success putting the first pitch into play. In fact, as a team, they're hitting .424 on the first pitch. So they have the high batting average, but they're only 7th in on-base percentage.
They don't walk, and they don't have the power of the Chicago White Sox. They're hitting at a 270 clip.
2-2 coming, and he struck him out. Good sinker there by Hirado to get Nunez and end the inning. But the Orioles get 2 more runs and lead at 5-2 after 2. The MLB app is the only place to get all your baseball action, in-game video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, standings, and much more. Download the MLB app today. Mets down 5-2 as Michael Conforto leads off the top of the third against Asher Wojciechowski. Conforto grounded into a double play his first time up. Conforto, Smith, and Cano as the Mets look to battle back again. They got 2 runs in the second. And off the fists, Conforto fouls it away. 0-2. Wojciechowski had a 32-pitch second inning. So he would like to settle back in. Meanwhile, Ariel Jurado has thrown 57 pitches through 2 innings, and no, there's no action in the Mets bullpen. That's it. Back to the pitcher and snagged by Wojciechowski. Looked down in that glove, and there was that little pearl. 1 out.
I don't know why he's throwing that ball away. That's an out, buddy.
And he was the only one who touched it.
Exactly. Sometimes you catch the ball, and sometimes it catches you. Well, I would have to say, I have to give him credit. He moved his glove down to put that in position.
Well, you can say he was looking in the general direction of the ball and the glove, if not directly at it.
Good play, though.
It was a good play. 1 out. Here's Dom Smith. And he takes the curveball for a strike.
Follow through brings him that way. Lowers the glove just enough. And to see how hard that was hit, it almost yanked the glove off his hand.
You know, it looks like we're going to be here for a while tonight, Ronnie.
I have nowhere to go, Gary.
So it gives me plenty of time to say this. That's grounded into the shift, and Valleca's there to throw out Smith, 2 out. But just so my wife can go to sleep,
yes,
I'd like to mention that it's my anniversary today, and I'd like to wish my wife Lynn an incredibly happy anniversary. Thank you for making me the luckiest man on earth. Okay, now you can go to bed, honey.
18th time in a row she's spending it alone.
You know, it was her decision to get married during the baseball season. I just want to make that clear. I was all for waiting till the season was over, but, you know, some things just can't wait.
You and I have the same thing. On a 7:30 start like this, it's like, if I were you, I would go to sleep. Not going to be home till 12 or 1.
Cano hits one in the air to deep right field, headed toward the wall, and it's out of here. Robinson Cano with a base hit his first time up, and now his 7th home run of the year. And Cano, who we mentioned loves hitting at Camden Yards, gets the Mets back closer. It's now 5-3. So Cano continues to thrive in 2020. And he drives one over the right field fence to get the Mets back within 2.
I mean, it still shows you the kind of pop that he has. If he gets that barrel out in front of the plate and way in front of the plate and hooked it down that line, ball flies out to right field here. You just got to hit it high enough.
Well, Cano 2 for 2 tonight. And hitting .400 for the season. That Mets home run means City will donate $2,000 to No Kid Hungry to help fight childhood hunger. Now more than ever, kids across America need our help.
16 home runs here now for Cano.
His batting average for the season is now .389. That's pulled by McNeil past the glove of Valleca. McNeil's got his 2nd hit of the night. So the 2nd straight 2-hit game for McNeil as he just got it past Valleca and into right field.
So unlike some of the teams, the Orioles play pretty straight up against McNeil. And Valleca gives it a good shot to get there in the hole and close it out, but just eludes his glove.
So Pete Alonso comes to bat as the tying run. Pete delivered a sacrifice fly his first time up. And the breaking ball well out of the strike zone from Wojciechowski. Did I mention that both bullpens are quiet? I mean, seriously, where is the breaking point for these two managers tonight?
Where's the immediacy, the emergency of each and every game? I don't know.
Fly ball out to center field, playable for Mullins. And Alonso retired, and so are the Mets in the top of the third, but not before Robinson Cano's home run gets the Mets closer. It's 5-3 Birds. Chance Sisco takes a curveball for a strike from Ariel Jurado as we start the bottom of the third. Sisco doubled to right his first time up, and he pops this one up on the left side of the infield, and Jimenez alone on that side. One hands it, one out. Guarantee your seats for opening day in the biggest games in 2021 with a Mets ticket plan. For a limited time, receive 10% bonus credit toward concessions and parking. For tickets, visit Mets.com/plans or call 718-507-TIXX. So Jurado, for the first time, has retired the leadoff hitter. And now Ryan Mountcastle up for the second time. He struck out his first time up. Remember when Sonny Gray was having a great year for the Cincinnati Reds?
What did I say? You can't afford one bad start.
Gave up 6 runs in 2/3 of an inning tonight against the Cardinals. Pushed his ERA up over 3. Billy Hamilton, Ahmed Rosario, sitting in the alternate seating location. Well, DeGrom, I guess, had his bad start yesterday. That's hit on the ground right at Jimenez. And he comes up throwing to get Mountcastle 2 out. And I guess if you're going to have one bad start, it's good to have it on a day when you only give up 1 earned run.
Yeah.
There's that score in Cincinnati. The Cardinals are in playoff position right now in second place in the Central. Toronto and Miami, that's Jonathan Villar's debut as a Blue Jay in the ballpark he just got traded from. Aaron Nola pitching for the Phillies tonight, leading the Nats.
Nola's been good. Wheeler's been good. Eflin has been good.
Arrieta not so good the other night. Here's Rio Ruiz taking a strike, and it's 1-1. Well, the key for the Phillies is, with the moves that they've made, can they get their bullpen straightened out? David Phelps, the latest acquisition.
Well, they finally got Hoskins red hot, and they showed me something in a game that they lost, Gary.
Right.
Gave up 10 runs, Arrieta did, or in that inning, and they stayed in it and fought till the end. That says a lot about a team.
And Jurado runs one inside. Ruiz checked the swing, and it's 3-1. Ruiz flied to center his first time up. Driven out to center field. Nimmo standing his ground right there to make the catch. And Jurado responds with a 1-2-3 bottom of the third. 5-3 Baltimore. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Mets. First third of the game you probably won't want to disseminate, but we'll see what happens from here. Luis Guillorme delivered an RBI single in the second inning and then stole a base. Asher Wojciechowski working with a 5-3 lead. He's given up 6 hits over the first 3 innings. And Guillorme fouls back the fastball, 1-2.
Feels like a first one to double figures kind of game to me.
What we used to call boxcar scores.
Yeah, right.
Wojciechowski overthrowing that fastball, and it's 2-2. Guillorme, Jimenez, and Sanchez 7, 8, and 9 in the Mets order against Wojciechowski. And he comes with a cutter and strikes out Guillorme. And that's his third strikeout. 1 down in the 4th.
That pitch had a little later break. It's supposed to be inside. Ends up kind of a backdoor cutter. You see that grip. Trying to really make it break, but it kind of just backed up on the outside part. That's why it fooled Guillorme.
So 1 out. Now Jimenez swings through a fastball. Andres struck out his first time up.
See, Wojciechowski's trying to work quicker, trying to get a little quicker tempo.
And Jimenez flies 1 out to right field. Santander is there. And there are 2 out. So Wojciechowski, who is looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night, has set down the first 2. And now he'll face Ali Sanchez. The Mets have had a lot of success in interleague play against the Orioles. They're 13-8 at Camden Yards, 23-13 overall against the Orioles. Of course, they were also 1-1 at Memorial Stadium. The only Met ever to lose at Memorial Stadium was Tom Seaver. Game 1 of the World Series in 1969.
Buford took him deep in the first batter, right?
Swoboda would tell you he should have had it. He mistimed his jump against the fence. But, you know, all those other games in that series turned out okay. They won Game 2 to get things even, and then magic in Games 3, 4, and 5.
Wow.
Back at Shea.
3 of the 5 hits are home runs for Clendenin.
That'll get you MVP. See, now if Seaver hadn't lost the first game, he might have gotten the MVP. I mean, he pitched 10 innings in Game 4. Of course, he also got bailed out on that Swoboda miracle.
That's right.
And Sanchez strikes out on the slider. Wojciechowski has his first 1-2-3 inning. That's his 4th strikeout. Middle of the 4th, 5-3 Baltimore. Well, this was the celebration that followed Game 5 of the World Series in 1969 after Cleon Jones genuflected, catching Davy Johnson's final fly ball. You know, I was just thinking, you can certainly make the case for Jerry Koosman being the MVP of that series. I mean, not only did he throw the complete game in Game 5 for the clincher, he carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning of Game 2.
Yeah. Well, you have to do something extra special as a starting pitcher because 9 innings wasn't enough. It was just, you know, that's kind of what you were supposed to do.
Well, now you get pitchers who, you know, not only start but then come in relief in postseason games.
That's right. I was just wondering, you know, when the fans all ran on the field there after the final out, I wonder if we still have fans of the Mets that are still around that can say every time we show that clip, they can say, that's me. That's my back. I was at the game.
I was not at that one, but
yeah.
I was at the clincher against the Braves in the League Championship Series that year. That's lined the other way by Valleca, and he's got his second hit of the day. A leadoff single in the home 4th. I was 11 years old, and I was sitting in the upper deck out in left field.
Okay.
But when the Mets won that game to sweep the series from the Braves, I made my way down and got on the field and got my little piece of turf, which I had for many, many years.
Did it cost you a little bit to get down to the lower level?
What do you mean?
Well, sometimes you were able to, you know, nicely slip them a little bit and say,
no, there was nothing necessary because thousands of people were already on the field before I got there.
Oh, okay.
I was coming all the way down. Yeah. It, you know, things have changed a lot, and I think they started to change after the '73 celebration when the Mets beat the Reds, which turned into a rather dangerous situation, more so than in '69.
So you didn't feel in danger when you were on the field?
No, not at all. It's more of a celebratory thing.
That's cool.
But '73 seemed more dangerous. And then if you if you watch when the Yankees beat the Royals in '76 when Chambliss hit the home run, that was really scary.
Yeah.
And things, at that point had become less celebratory and more, flagrant.
Yeah, the series against the Dodgers, Reggie hit those 3 home runs in the deciding game. When he was coming off the field, I remember him bowling over fans to get to the dugout.
And Velasquez takes a breaking ball for a strike, and it's 2-1. I think the turning point in terms of keeping the crowds off the field was in 1980 when the Phillies beat the Royals in the World Series. They brought the mounted police out, the horses, and I think that was the thing that dissuaded people from doing that ever again. Velasquez flies one to shallow center. Nimmo got a late start, but he'll get there, and that retires Velasquez for the first out. So 1 out and 1 on now. Cedric Mullins, and be alert for the bunt.
Yeah,
he's bunted twice already tonight.
Well, he's been putting on a clinic. This is his first at bat. Disguised it so well. Guillorme is a real good fielder, and he had no shot at that play, hugging the line. This one was more of a sacrifice. Hope you get a hit, and he almost did.
So he's got a bunt hit and a sacrifice to his credit, and Guillorme close and maybe should be closer. I mean, the execution on the bunts has been amazing by Mullins.
You were saying Juan Pierre. The best when I played, my generation, was Brett Butler.
Mm-hmm. I mean, those guys were good for 1 a game. And what I remember from watching Pierre is he'd go out in pregame, like after batting practice or before batting practice.
Yeah, before.
Wherever he was, whatever park he was in, and he would roll balls along the line to see how they broke. So he'd know just how much he needed to hug the line and how much they would roll off. The master of his craft. That's hit sharply, and a base hit for Mullins, this time into the outfield. Valleca stops at second, and the hits just keep on coming. That's 9 of them now for the Orioles.
I mean, this hole is wide open in tonight's game for the Orioles. Just blistered. No cheap ones, though. The ball's been hit real hard in that hole.
Mets have the bullpen starting to get busy. Franklin Kilome, who was bypassed for the start tonight, is now up in the bullpen behind Gerardo. Here's Santander, who's 1 for 2, and he takes a slider for a strike. Gerardo about to throw his 80th pitch of the night with 1 out in the 4th. Santander had a base hit to drive and a run his last time up. He's 1 for 2. And takes the changeup out of the strike zone, 1-1. Seven different Orioles have hits in this game. And this one's popped up on the third base side. Guillorme, infield fly rule called, and that's the second out. So there's a big out for Gerardo as he gets Santander for the second out.
Well, the infield fly is called because you don't want any triple plays, right, Gary? When there's nobody out.
Or double plays. We were watching a video of a play that involved the Orioles from 20 years ago. In fact, it was on this date in 2000. They were playing against the Indians. Melvin Moore was playing shortstop, the former Met. Went into shallow left field, let a ball drop that should have been called an infield fly, but it wasn't, and they got a triple play out of it.
Sandy Alomar Jr. is the one who hit the pop-up.
And Alomar Jr. was called out because he walked toward the dugout because he thought the infield fly rule had been called after the other 2 runners had been erased. 1-1 to Iglesias, who's doubled and scored and then driven on a run with a fielder's choice. It's a shame that the Mets traded Melvin Mora.
He's a good player, you told me.
He's a really good player, and he became a star in Baltimore. But it was a move of expediency. The Mets felt they needed a shortstop, traded him for Mike Bordick during that 2000 season after Ray Ordonez got hurt. Little dribbler, Gerardo off the mound, short hops it on the backhand and throws out Iglesias. Nicely done by Gerardo, and he strands a pair in the bottom of the fourth. Keeps it a 2-run game. 5-3 Orioles going to the fifth. Getting back the of Juan Pierre's bunting. There's the form by Juan.
Well, he was so precise. He would catch that ball right on the end of the bat to deaden the ball.
He better, because he's got his fingers wrapped around the bat. That's not. I mean, that's how David Cohn broke his hand.
But the wide stance, getting down so his knees can bend easily, he was fantastic. I don't know about you. I loved watching him play.
Terrific in the outfield, and had a long career, starting in Colorado, but most notably in Florida. 2-0 to Nimmo, leading off in the fifth inning. And Brandon takes inside from Wojciechowski, and it's 3-0. Brandon led off the game with a base hit. Wojciechowski's had a lead since the bottom of the first. Ariel Gerardo has put up 2 zeros in a row after a rough beginning. Don't know if he's done after 4 innings. He's thrown 84 pitches. Maybe he gets one more. Conforto and Smith to follow after Nimmo. And Brandon flies one out to left field. And Mountcastle is there. 1 out. Watch SNY games on the go on any device. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Here's Conforto, who's grounded into a double play and lined one back to the pitcher. When the Orioles get their bullpen going, Thomas Eshelman will begin to throw. As Wojciechowski's up over 70 pitches. There's Eshelman. Wojciechowski has not gone beyond 5 innings this year in any of his 6 prior starts. There's Kilame on top, Eshelman on the bottom.
Wojciechowski just averaging a shade over 4 innings per start, but we see that all around the league, right?
Well, it works in a 7-inning game, not so well in a 9-inning game. And that's away, and so for the second straight batter, Wojciechowski's fallen behind. He was 3-1 on Nimmo. Now he's 3-1 on Conforto. And Michael fouls one away, and it's 3-2. Dom Smith waiting on deck. "31-year-old Asher Wojciechowski looking for his second win of the year, trying to get through the 5th to qualify. And Conforto flies one behind third base, and that ball's going to fall for a base hit. Little parachute off the bat of Conforto, and the Mets have their 7th hit of the night. Almost like he lobbed it out there.
Yeah, well, kind of jammed himself on this fastball up, and Ruiz in the shift was the only person that had a chance at that play. Good effort. Base hit from Conforto.
David Wright would have had it. Would have barehanded
That's
it.
right.
Here's Dom Smith tying right at the plate in a 5-3 game, and he gets the cutter inside and stops the swing. 1-0. Dom tonight has struck out and grounded out 0 for 2.
The theme of the game is just get Cano up with some people on base.
Robbie's been a hitting machine, hasn't he? So is Dom. 0 for 2 tonight, though. And that one comes inside, and it's 2-0. Wojciechowski has walked only one. That was Ali Sanchez, of all people, in the second inning. Cano waiting on deck. 3 infielders on the right side against Dom. And he pops this one foul, and it's 2-1. Here you see the shift against Dom Smith. The Orioles leave their third baseman on the left side rather than flopping him over and leaving the shortstop over there. The road ahead is presented by GMC. The flagship station for Mets baseball on the radio is WCBS News Radio 880. Don't forget the start time tomorrow. That's a change, 4:05. And then 4:10 on Thursday for the makeup game with the Yankees at Citi Field. Then the Mets welcome the Phillies for 4 and the Orioles for 2 more before they go to Buffalo to take on the Blue Jays. That's pulled, just foul. That had been a fair ball. Nunez probably would have had it. He didn't really come off the bag. You know, the Mets used to have a farm team in Buffalo.
That's right.
How close that was. But I don't think the Mets have ever, well, I know they haven't ever played a game that counted in Buffalo. They might have played an exhibition game against their farm team when it was there.
It was a very common thing in my day when I played, is that you'd always have 1 or 2 games at the minor league ballparks so that the big league team would sign some autographs for the fans.
Yeah, here's how that went. You'd play the game.
Yeah.
The minor league team would sell out the ballpark because the major leaguers were coming to play. The big leaguers would take one at bat, come out of the game, and everybody get upset.
Oh, yeah?
Every single time the same thing happened. 2-2 to Smith. And Dom goes down swinging on the high fastball, so he's struck out for the second time tonight, and that's 5 now for Wojciechowski. I saw a game the Mets played, you were probably there,
yeah,
in Lynchburg, when Lynchburg was their Class A team.
No, I never went to Lynchburg.
Okay, so Darryl Strawberry gets on base in the first inning, goes to steal second, is thrown out at second. The clubhouse is down the left field line. He gets thrown out at second, goes directly to the clubhouse in the left field line, and never to be seen again.
Big league and all the minor league people.
And everybody in Lynchburg booed. So here's Cano, who's singled and homered tonight. His 7th home run of the year. And the 3rd straight day that he's homered. Not the 3rd straight game, but the 3rd straight day. Conforto at first with 2 out. And that's open to Robbie, 2-0.
Got a little breaking ball, the curve ball from Wojciechowski, and just flipped it over the wall in right field.
Tomorrow, the Mets will have Robinson squared, Cano, and Chirinos.
That's right.
Which means that, you know, the Mets could wear 42 the rest of the year. Or they could stage a latter-day episode of Lost in Space with the Robinsons.
Oh, there you go.
Danger Will Robinson. That's it out to center field. This one will stay in the ballpark. Mullins right there. And he puts it away to retire the side. We've come halfway. 5-3 Baltimore. Moved to Baltimore in 1954 to become the Orioles, and the history of Baltimore baseball is rich. 3 World Series titles. Earl Weaver, the crusty skipper of those 1970 Orioles. Eddie Murray, a Hall of Famer. Al Ripken, a Hall of Famer. Won the World Series in '66, sweeping the Dodgers in a huge surprise. Beat the Big Red Machine in 1970, and then The All-Geezer World Series. They beat the Phillies in 1983.
All-Geezer. That's funny.
No World Series has ever set two franchises back more than that one. Both teams held on to players that they probably should have parted with. Franklin Kilome comes on to pitch for the Mets as we go to the bottom of the fifth.
Kilome has been good when he's come in for the Mets in his 2 appearances, but he's always had a tough first inning. Let's see if he can get over that here.
Renato Nunez has the biggest hit in this game, a 3-run homer in the first off Ariel Jurado. There you see the numbers for Kilome. He went 4 innings in his first outing and then 3 in his second and earned a save in a lopsided game against the Marlins because of the 3-inning save rule.
Almost ran out of gas in that second appearance, but got through, got the 9 outs.
So Ariel Jurado threw 84 pitches in 4 innings in his Mets debut. 5 runs, 9 hits, no walks, 2 strikeouts, a home run. The Mets are playing their 36th game. It's the 13th time that their starter has gone 4 innings or less.
Say that again.
13 out of 36 games, the Mets starting pitcher has gone 4 innings or less. Out to right field. Conforto moves over to get it, and that retires Nunez 1 away. 2 positives for Jurado. 1, he didn't walk anybody, and 2, he settled in the last couple of innings and stopped the damage and kept the team in the game.
Yeah, kept this team close in a ballpark that can give up a lot of runs.
It did not begin well at all. He gave up hits to 7 of his first 11 batters. But once he started throwing his sinker, Ronnie, he had some better success.
I mean, that's what I anticipated seeing from him from the beginning, but he got hurt with 2 four-seam fastballs away in the first.
Now Chance Cisco, who doubled to the wall in right field in the first and then popped out in the third, 1 for 2. The Mets 3 runs, 7 hits. The Orioles 5 runs and 9 hits were in the fifth. Kilome misses with the splitter, and it's 2-0. Kilome acquired from the Phillies when the Mets traded Asdrubal Cabrera a couple of summers ago, and very shortly thereafter underwent Tommy John surgery and missed all of last year. And this is flied out to center, chasing Nimmo back a few strides, back to the wall where he makes the catch. This is a very small park.
Yes.
So a long second out. Jets football is back. Bob Wischusen and Marty Lyons host exclusive coverage, highlights, and analysis of the Jets' green and white practice. Check it out tomorrow at 2 p.m. on SNY.
One thing about this ballpark is that the fences are, I believe, the mats are 7 feet.
Right.
So you see a lot of robbing of home runs here.
And when there are fans in the ballpark interfering with fielders trying to rob home runs. In those seats over in left field. Ryan Mountcastle is struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. And he bounces the breaking ball. Kilome off the mound. Throws out Mountcastle in a very successful first inning for Franklin Kilome. Gets a 1-2-3, 5-3 Baltimore after 5. Nice outing for Aaron Nola tonight. Thomas Eshelman comes on to pitch for the Orioles as we go to the 6th.
He's made a couple starts for them, but he has been one of their better relievers. Hitters only 3 for 33 as a reliever off Eshelman.
Hey, how about the Marlins debut for Starling Marte? 2-2 game, bottom of the 8th. He homers, and the Marlins beat the Jays 3-2. Welcome to Miami, Starling Marte.
Instant offense.
Jeff McNeil leads off in the 6th, and we check in with Steve.
Gary, 4 hits, 3 doubles in the last 2 days for Jeff McNeil, and he thinks he may have finally figured out what was going wrong. He looks at his body position and says that in the past, when he's been going well, He's got his upper body leaned out over the plate as he flies out to left there. His head, most notably, leans out over the plate, whereas basically for the entire season this year, he's been more upright. His head has been up over his body, and thus, instead of getting through the baseball, he's rolling over a lot of pitches that he drove last year. The interesting part of this story, though, is how he came to that conclusion. After the doubleheader on Sunday against the Yankees, he FaceTimed with Patrick Mazeika, who was a close friend and teammate in the minors, has been up for a couple of doubleheaders this year. He says Mazeika knows his swing about as well as anybody, and it was Mazeika who broke down video during that FaceTime call and pointed that out to him.
You never know, right?
Good story there, Steve. Yeah, you use whatever's available when you're struggling, right?
Well, your teammates can help you, right?
It's interesting. McNeil had a little smile and a word with Eshelman. I wonder if they played against each other. Eshelman, the California kid.
Eshelman, Cal State Fullerton. McNeil, Long Beach State, so it's every chance that their paths have crossed. Alonso's had a sacrifice fly tonight, otherwise 0 for 1. So Asher Wojciechowski went 5 innings through 87 pitches, 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, a home run. And he's on the long end of a 5-3 score. Bounced on the left side, cutting in front is Ruiz. And his throw gets Alonso by a stride, 2 away.
You know, guys, talking about McNeil, you said whatever it takes, right? We were recently talking about Willie Mays' book, 24, and how he mentioned that he used to hang a picture in his locker of his swing when he felt his swing was right, and anytime anything was off, he'd go back and take a look at that.
You know, we really didn't have a lot of video. We had some, but it was kind of grainy, you know. Joey Fitz was our guy that used to take the pictures behind the plate, video behind the plate. But it's interesting that you wouldn't spend as much time looking at the video when you're going good than you would when you're going bad.
Well, they do have the iPads in the dugout. You can't go in the video room to look at your at-bats, but you can study the pitchers preloaded on those iPads. Not allowed to have an internet connection on there. Guillorme fouls away the fastball. As you can see, Eshelman's not a hard thrower. His fastball 86 miles an hour.
No checking your email during the game, Gary?
No, none of that. And you know, Keith would be lost without an internet connection during a game. Train's coming. Pulled on the ground through the hole, and Guillorme's got another hit. Second hit of the day for Luis Guillorme. So he keeps his average over 400.
Just a slider down and in. It's really, well, shouldn't say that. Really middle. And pulled into that hole by Guillorme.
So 2 out and a runner at first, and now Andres Jimenez, who has struck out and flied out 0 for 2. And he takes the changeup out of the strike zone for ball 1. Well, Jimenez is not a big guy, but he's got some pop. He's got 64 big league at bats without a home run. This would be the perfect time and place. And he lays off the breaking ball from Eshelman, and it's 2-0.
Are you calling it, Gary? Is that what you're doing?
No. I'm just saying that it, you know, at some point he's going to hit a ball out of the ballpark, and this ballpark, it's tends to lend itself to long balls. And he's the tying run. He flies this one out to left. Pretty well hit. Mountcastle back, and it's out of here. Andres Jimenez with his first major league home run. He goes the other way to tie the game. A 2-run shot for Jimenez, and it's 5-5 in the 6th. See?
Congratulations, my friend. Nostradamus. Well, that might make the decision a little tougher on what middle infielder has to go when Todd Frazier comes back.
They're both having nice days, right? Jimenez with a 2-run homer. Guillorme with a couple of hits. Andres with his first big league home run, and the Mets have come all the way back to tie this game.
Just running a fastball away and gets it in the air.
And now a fly ball out to right by Sanchez. Santander is there to grab it, inning over, but Andres Jimenez's first big league home run ties up the game. 5-5 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Well, they watch Andres see what they've seen so far in his rookie season at age 21. He's now got his first big league home run, and the Mets are back even. Franklin Kilome looked great in his first inning of work, and he faces Rio Ruiz in the bottom of the 6th. Ruiz has been up twice and flied out both times. Kilome got the side in order on 9 pitches in the 5th inning. And Ruiz takes the splitter out of the strike zone. It's 2-0. Pat Valaika on deck, and then Andrew Velasquez for the Orioles in the 6th. Orioles led 3-0 and 5-2, but the Mets have fought their way back. That got Ariel Jurado off the hook. Jurado went the first 4, allowed 5 runs and 9 hits. But the Mets with home runs from Cano and Jimenez able to get even. It was a strike, 3-1. Franklin Kilome, the rare pitcher who wears his height on his back. A strapping 6'6". And he walks Ruiz to start the bottom of the 6th. 6'6" BB. So a leadoff base runner. First walk issued by Met pitchers tonight. And now Valaika, who's 2 for 2. Twice a single to right field. Valaika, the former Rocky, guy who can play everywhere for you. In fact, he's making his 22nd start for the Orioles this year. He has started at 5 different positions. The entire infield and left field. And that one gets away from Sanchez, and down to second base goes Ruiz. So Sanchez unable to keep that ball in front of him. And on the wild pitch, the go-ahead run moves into scoring position.
Well, you'll watch his technique. He puts his glove to cover the 5-hole and then tries to use his chest protector. But if you don't get squared up on that breaking ball, it's just going to carry him either right or left. And that's what happens to him here.
Needs to soften it up a little.
Yeah.
Use that chest protector as a pillow.
Also, I like when the hands come kind of on the outside at some point. Make your body bigger if you can.
Nobody does that better than Yadier Molina.
Yep.
Been doing that for 15 years. And a knee-high fastball for a strike to Valaika, and it's 1-1.
The other thing you can do, Gary, to make it a little easier on you is as soon as you see that ball going to be in the dirt, try to propel your body a few inches forward. You'll get it on the short hop as opposed to the big hop.
Ruiz at second with nobody out. Cano trying to keep him close, and Kilome steps off. Valaika takes low and in, 2-1. Pat Valaika playing second base in place of our current favorite Oriole. That would be Hanser Alberto. our favorite Oriole, because his dad, Tony, is a play-by-play guy back in the Dominican Republic. So we're a little partial to Hanser Alberto, but he's got a bit of a knee problem right now, so he's out of the lineup tonight.
Tony's in the fraternity.
He is. And the breaking ball out of the strike zone, and so Kilome, after walking Ruiz leading off the inning, falls behind Valleca 3-1.
I shouldn't say fraternity, just the club.
Well, there's nothing, there's no Greek letters on the play-by-play fraternity.
That's right. There's no club.
Just start
no dues.
You start talking into a microphone until somebody tells you to stop.
Exactly.
People tell us that all the time, and we just don't listen. That's hit out to left center field. There's nobody there, and it's going to go up the gap and all the way to the wall, and the Orioles regain the lead. Ruiz is in. Valleca pulls into second base, his third hit of the day, an RBI double to put the Orioles up 6-5.
Well, what a night by Valleca, and it's only the 6th inning. All of his hits hit on the nose as Ruiz scores.
That's just giving him the gap in left center, and he took it.
Well, he had a hit to right field, so they were shading him that way in the right center field gap, and it was just wide open.
So after the Mets fought back to tie, the Orioles instantly regain the lead. And now Andrew Velasquez, the batter, and the Mets shorten up at the corners, thinking he might be bunting. Velasquez is 1 for 2 at a base hit and scored a run in the second. And he does square, drops down the bunt. Kilome has to go to first with it. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Valleca over to third. You just don't see a lot of that anymore.
No, you don't.
In an all DH major leagues, especially in a ballpark like this that yields so many runs.
But it's the personnel that the Orioles have in their starting lineup tonight.
And now you got a guy who might be able to bunt or run home.
Yeah.
Mullins has already been successful bunting twice. Bunted for a base hit in the first, sacrificed in the second. Then he pulled the base hit through the hole into right in the fourth. Infield up all the way around, and Smith and Guillorme well in on the grass at the corners.
No need for Mullins to bunt here. The infield's in.
Last time we saw somebody show safety squeeze against the Mets, it ended a game. Popped foul and out of play, 1-1. And Mullins late on the fastball, and it's 1-2. So Kilome running one upstairs, looking for a strikeout against Mullins.
So if you're reading the bat and you're the pitcher, you say to yourself, okay, he'll chase that high pitch. But now there's 2 strikes, Gary. So if you throw it higher, it's got to be higher than that pitch.
Goes back down with the breaking ball, and Sanchez kept that in front of him, 2-2.
That's a good choice. Bounce that breaking ball. Good stop by Sanchez. But he's proven that he can swing through the ball up in the zone. I would attack that one more time.
Two coming. Another breaking ball, and he struck him out. So Kilome, needing a strikeout, gets it as he fans Mullins for the second out. That's his first strikeout.
Well, it's nice to see when a young pitcher needs a strikeout, he's able to go get it. Kilome has great stuff. He has a lot of wipeout pitches, and he used a curveball there.
So 2 out. Valleca's still at third, and now Anthony Santander, who singled in a run back in the second, 1 for 3 on the night. And the backdoor curve in for a strike. Santander now with 30 runs batted in. The Orioles are playing their 35th game. And he smacks one toward the gap in right center field, back toward the wall, and it's off the top. It's out of here. A 2-run homer for Anthony Santander, his 11th home run of the year. And the Orioles now lead it 8-5 in the 6th inning. A 3 RBI night for Santander, who is having himself a whale of a season.
32 RBI now in 34 games. Caught a breaking ball right in the middle of the plate after that soft one for strike one. And just a line drive. This is a small ballpark, so if you hit it on the barrel, always have a chance of going out. I mean, it felt like a double off the bat, but clear defense.
So 3 runs home for the Orioles in the 6th after the Mets had tied it. And now Jose Iglesias takes a slider for a strike. Iglesias 1 for 3, doubled back in the 1st. So each team with 2 home runs tonight. Nunez a 3-run shot, and Santander a 2-run homer for Baltimore. And a chopper over the mound. Cano waiting on it. The cross-body throw to get Iglesias. That retires the side, but not before the Orioles score 3. Santander a 2-run homer. It's 8-5 Baltimore. And lefty Paul
Fry, who originally was drafted by the Seattle Mariners, but has found a home here in Baltimore. He's not only a reliever, but he can go multiple innings.
66 games last year, now in his 15th game already this year. Top of the batting order, Brandon Nimmo is up and takes a slider for a strike. Mets have 7 left-handed bats in the lineup, which leaves them very vulnerable to left-handed relief pitching. It's one of the reasons they made the deals for Todd Frazier and Robinson Chirinos, try and get a little more right-handed. Little tapper down to third. Ruiz charging, uses the glove, and a close play, and Nimmo beats it out. Probably should have barehanded it. Nimmo with the infield hit, and the Mets get the leadoff man on in the 7th.
I don't know if he didn't get a grip, but he took a long time to get rid of that baseball. He had it in time, and watch, that wind-up to get something on the throw cost him the play.
And Nimmo clearly beat it. Second hit of the night for Brandon. That's now with 10 hits in the game. And here's Conforto, who's 1 for 3. A pop fly single to left his last time up. And a good slider by Fry to start him off 0-1. Well, when Paul Fry was warming up, that's when Santander hit the home run, which expanded the Orioles' lead. So he was warming up and doing a little rooting at the same time. And Conforto tries to lay off, but he went around. And now Fry has him down in the count 0-2.
This is one of the best breaking balls I've seen from a left-handed reliever this year.
Second man out of the bullpen for Baltimore. Thomas Eshelman worked an inning, gave up 2 runs, 2 hits, but now stands to be the winning pitcher. Now the vagaries of wins and losses for relievers. 1-2 to Conforto. Doesn't mean you have to kill the win. It just means you have to have context. Sorry, Brian. Dom Smith on deck. 1-2 coming to Conforto. And he lines one right to the shortstop. Throw back to first, and Nimmo retreats. Velasquez shaded right behind the bag in a spot where that was a base hit for 150 years, but not anymore. And that's the first out.
I mean, especially when it's hit like this. A bullet. Umpire barely could get out of the way. Larry Vanover. No need to make that throw by Velasquez. I mean, the sound of that.
So 1 out and 1 on. And now Dom Smith, who's had a rough night, 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts. Hasn't had too many nights like that. And Fry comes up and in with the fastball, 0-1. Seen a little more of that lately against Dom.
He's a little loose right now, chasing some pitches out of the strike zone.
Struck out 4 of his last 5 at bats now.
I mean, certainly a week of a whirlwind of emotions, right?
Well, he responded to that really well. Hit the go-ahead home run the next day. Two balls and a strike to Dom. Final game of this 2-game set tomorrow. It's a 4 o'clock start, so our coverage begins at 3:30. Michael Wacha makes the start for the Mets. Lefty John Means goes for the Orioles. 3:30 the coverage tomorrow on SNY. And Dom pokes one foul, and it's 2-2. John Means going for the Orioles tomorrow. Michael Wacha announced as the Mets starter.
Means was an all-star last year, wasn't he?
He was. Had a rough sophomore season. Two coming. And the slider in there. Strike 3 called. So Smith is caught looking, and Dom is struck out for the 3rd time tonight. 2 out.
It's a good one. Starts off the inside corner and bends right over the inside part of the plate. Good breaking ball from Fry. I mean, because of some of the elimination of those left-handed relievers that would get one out, you've eliminated some of those guys that had really good breaking balls. Fry is good.
First time this year that Dom Smith has struck out 3 times in a game. Now Robinson Cano is 2 for 3 tonight. He singled to right in the 2nd and then blasted a home run in the 3rd, his 7th of the year. Nimmo at first with 2 down. And it's hit sharply, but right at the 3rd baseman Ruiz. He gets the 5-6 force. That ends the inning. 7th inning stretch time in Baltimore. Orioles 8, Mets 5. We'll check out the baseball on Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame on SNY.
I watched that giant gesture by Joe Judge. They had water hoses and were making mud of the grassy area, and he was showing his players how to recover a fumble in the mud. They loved it.
Do they still have mud in football? Is that still allowed?
I don't think so, but players love it, and he might be one of those coaches where he's tough, but the players might like him.
Did he go down in the mud?
Yes, he went down and recovered the fumble.
Well, then that's the gesture.
Yeah, well, he reminds me of the coaches when I was a kid. They were more like pedagogues.
I'm sorry, is Carm Koza going down in the mud?
No.
When you were at Yale?
Carm was too cool.
Yeah. Franklin Killamay working his 3rd inning of relief. And he misses inside with a fastball to Renato Nunez. Nunez set the tone for this night with a 3-run homer in the 1st inning. Orioles went up 3-0 and 5-2. Mets came back to tie, but then the Orioles put up a 3 spot in the 6th against Killamay. And there's a good slider to get even on Nunez, 2-2. Hunter Harvey, hard-throwing right-hander, up in the Orioles bullpen. No relation to Matt, who had another rough outing for the Royals tonight. Matt went an inning in the 3rd, allowed 5 runs, 6 hits. His ERA is up over 15. Two to Nunez, and the curveball drilled to left, and that ball is going to sail out of here. 2nd home run of the night for Renato Nunez, his 9th of the year, and it's 9-5 Baltimore. And that got out in an eyelash.
Well, we've seen all season long from the numbers that the Orioles can hit, and they're proving it tonight.
4th career multiple home run game for Renato Nunez. And the Orioles' third home run of this game.
He had thrown him a perfect slider. Comes back with the curveball hanging. See you later.
Now Chance Sisco takes a strike. There's nobody up behind Kilomay in the Mets bullpen. Ariel Hirado, the starter, went 4 innings. Kilomay looked great in the 5th, but gave up 3 runs in the 6th, and now another home run here in the 7th, and a fly ball out to left, and McNeil squeezes this one to retire Chance Sisco for the first out. Now Ryan Mountcastle, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight. Struck out, grounded out twice. And Mountcastle with a good cut fouls back the fastball, and it's 0-2. Franklin Kilomay, his 3rd appearance for the Mets, and asked to go long in all 3 of them. A 4-inning stint, a 3-inning outing, and trying to get a 3rd inning in today. And Mountcastle down on 3 pitches. There's a second strikeout for Kilomay, and there are 2 out in the inning.
A little anger from Kilomay there. Just threw 3 balls right by Mountcastle.
Speaking of anger, Ronnie,
yeah.
I understand they had a little some short tempers at the end of the Yankees-Rays game tonight.
Yes, they did. Mr. Aroldis Chapman, we were talking about J.D. Davis, who Chapman had hit in the hip. He threw one up and in to one of the hitters for Tampa Bay Rays.
Yankees won that game 5-3. DJ LeMahieu had a couple of home runs. Only the 2nd win for the Yankees in 9 meetings with the Rays this year. So Tampa Bay's lead is now 3.5 in the AL East. Rio Ruiz is 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. And the curveball from Kilomay drops in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Red Sox and Braves are in the 8th. Atlanta with a 5-2 lead after Max Fried shut them down last night. Fried is now 6-0 with a 1.6 ERA. Braves trying to stay 3 games in front in the NL East with a win tonight.
Well, when you DH, this is what you do between innings before you're at bats.
I'm not sure he's put the bat down all day. Hits have been hard to come by for Pete. Just 3 for his last 33. One-two to Ruiz, and he lines one to right center field, and that's in for a base hit. Nimmo cuts it off, and Ruiz stops at first. It's 12 hits now for the Orioles.
Running out of ink. Looked like either a slider or a cutter from Kilomay that just did not break.
I lost count, Ronnie. It's actually 13 hits for the Orioles.
There you go.
That's why you're running out of ink.
I know. It felt like one more.
Mets have had 10 hits, but the Orioles with a 4-run lead in the 7th. And now Pat Valaika, who has 3 of those Baltimore hits, 2 singles and a double tonight. He's driven in a run. He's scored 2. And a first pitch breaking ball drilled into left field, and Valaika's got a 4-hit game. So Valaika wastes no time adding to his resume. Well, Luis Rojas not having a very happy 39th birthday so far. On a day when clearly he feels hamstrung in his bullpen. He has nobody up in the bullpen. Down 9-5 in the 7th. It's a very winnable game at this point in this ballpark. Here's Velasquez. And he hits one weakly out to second base, and Cano makes the play on Velasquez to end the inning. Nunez's second home run makes it 9-5 Baltimore after 7. Wojciechowski, 5 innings, allowed 3 runs. It's been a bit of a hitter's night, but it's Camden Yards, Jake.
There's Kilome. Rojas going up to talk to his young right-hander. So the starters tonight went 9 innings on 172 pitches.
Yeah, that's about right.
For both clubs.
The Orioles will roll out their hard-throwing right-hander Hunter Harvey, who's enormously talented but has trouble staying healthy. And Jeff McNeil will be the first man to face him in the 8th inning.
Hunter's got a big arm, just like his dad did. Brian Harvey, closer for, well, California Angels in those days, and the Marlins.
And the Marlins, yeah. McNeil runs into the ball. Did it hit him in fair territory? The home plate umpire Ryan Addington says no. He initially made no call at all until the catcher Chance Sisco asked him. And now Brandon Hyde, the Orioles manager, is going to come out to ask about it. McNeil ran into the ball. The question is, was he in fair territory? And of course, if he was, then he's out.
I thought he was in foul territory. He definitely was in front. I mean, out of the box, but I thought he was in foul territory. Let's see. Oh, no. He was
close.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
I mean, his foot was on the line. The ball hit his hand. They could have easily called him out. Yeah, that's in fair territory.
Yeah, he's out.
He should have been out. So the Mets get a break there. I think the umpires were not really aware of the situation.
No.
Ryan Addington never made a call.
They came to it late.
And then they asked Lance Barksdale down at third, but he didn't have a great angle.
Can't replay that, right?
Line over short, that's a base hit. No, fair foul is not a reviewable call. And so McNeil takes advantage with his 3rd hit of the night. So McNeil looks like he has broken out. A couple of doubles yesterday, and now a 3-hit game tonight. Even getting the breaks. So the Mets have their 11th hit. Let's have Jared Hughes up in the bullpen, trying to get a little closer here in the 8th. In this ballpark, you are not out of it. 4 runs down in the 8th inning. Alonso's 0 for 2 and a sac fly tonight, and he fouls back the fastball from Harvey, 0-1.
97 miles an hour. There's Jared Hughes. I like the bullpens here, the way they are staggered. Philadelphia, of course, copied it.
Of course, Philadelphia added the wrinkle of the fans being up above the bullpen.
Yeah.
They don't have that here. Pete flies one out to right, and Santander giving some ground. And that's the first out. So Alonso's troubles continue. So 1 out and 1 on. Now Luis Guillorme, who's 2 for 3 tonight, singled in a run in the 2nd. Singled and scored in the 6th. He's stolen a base along the way as well. Has his average up to .421 for the season. And takes the fastball high from Harvey, 1-0. As we mentioned early in the broadcast, with Todd Frazier set to join the team tomorrow, Guillorme and Jimenez are making the decision complicated. J.D. Davis with a bat, hiding in the Mets dugout. J.D.'s been sitting out with a bruised hip after getting plunked by Aroldis Chapman. Well, it looks like he's getting set for a pinch hitting assignment. Perhaps for Sanchez, 2 batters away. And Guillorme takes the splitter outside. It's 2-1. Jimenez on deck. Sanchez behind him. Jimenez homered his last time up, his first big league home run. And Guillorme late on that high fastball, and it's 2-2. That's some serious gas.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, you have to start it early. And he guessed right, got the fastball 2-1, but couldn't lay it off it up in the strike zone.
I mean, the gun's getting 97, 98, and it looks every bit like 100. Now a full count to Guillorme. Harvey's made only one appearance this year because of injury. Made only 7 appearances last year. So he is very raw as far as big league experience. But they are hoping that he is their future closer. 3-2 coming. And Guillorme fouls away the fastball. You know, when closing is in your family.
So there's a lot expected of you, right?
Right. You come in the game and it's Harvey. Good day.
There you go.
Again, the 3-2. And he struck him out. Fastball away gets Guillorme for the second out of the inning.
Unlike most of those fastballs, that one had a little bit of run, and that's the reason why Guillorme swung through it.
So 2 out now, Andres Jimenez. Milestone in his last at bat, his first big league home run. And they authenticated the ball. UPC code and everything.
It'll come with our running commentary and your prediction, Gary, which will be cool.
Well, that gives me 1 and you about 10,000.
No.
You know what they say about a blind squirrel finding a nut now and then.
Cherish it. That's awesome.
Well, he should cherish it.
Yeah, well, both.
0-2 to Andres. McNeil at first with 2 out. And Jimenez strokes one the other way, foul into the screen.
So you see Harvey on his breaking ball, he slows his arm down, so he's going to have to work on that, keep that arm speed up to match his fastball arm speed.
J.D. Davis out on deck. He'll pinch hit for Sanchez if Jimenez can keep the inning going. 0-2 coming. And he gets the breaking ball in, strike 3 called. So Jimenez caught looking. Harvey's got a couple of strikeouts, and the Mets are done in the top of the 8th. Good seafood to be had in that town.
That's right.
Jared Hughes comes on for the bottom of the 8th.
Boy, 12th game already for Hughes. First batter face number is very good.
It's 12 games despite missing, what, the first 3 weeks?
That's right.
On the COVID injured list. Cedric Mullins has 2 hits and a sacrifice. Mets wary for the bunt again, but this time he swings and pops one up in foul ground. And Sanchez with Smith, and Dahl makes a terrific catch and then goes flying. Great play by Dom Smith, reaching as far as he could to the railing right at the opening. And a couple of the Oriole players, including Pat Vallejo, has 4 hits tonight and now a save.
Well, there's no chance Sanchez had it, but great job by Dominic reaching in that little opening there. And that gets dangerous because he could have fallen there, but nice job by the Orioles. I'm of the school that after the catch is made or the catch attempt is made, that you do help the opponent. Some other people don't feel that way.
Anthony Santander takes a strike. I think it's changing times, Ronnie. I think there was a time when nobody would have helped anybody.
That's right. I always felt different about that. You don't want anyone to crack their skull.
Well, I'll say this also. When you guys played, you didn't have those fences in front of the dugout, so I think guys were more wary as they went into that territory. Now you can be a little bit more aggressive knowing that the fence and the padding is there to protect you. But that also leads to a little more recklessness. Travis Lakins is the right-hander. Tanner Scott the left-hander in the Baltimore bullpen. Santander has driven in 3 runs tonight with a single and a 2-run homer. Franklin Kilome went 3 innings in relief, allowed 4 runs, 5 hits, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a wild pitch, 2 home runs. He's pitcher of record on the short side of this 9-5 score. That's we're down by 3. They rallied to tie, but the Orioles took the lead right back. In the 9th, the Mets are due to send up 9, 1, and 2 in the batting order. Sanchez, Nimmo, and Conforto. And we'll see how the Orioles try and close this game out, whether they leave Harvey in after a successful 8th or whether they go to Scott or Lakins. Cole Sulser has been the closer for Baltimore, but he has just recently lost that closer's job. Oh, and Santander gets drilled, and he'll go down to first base.
He doesn't like it. Wasn't trying to hit you. You know, I hear people all the time say, you know, why do hitters get mad? There's no way he was trying to hit him. Well, they get mad. You know why? Because it hurts. It hurts a lot.
Yeah.
And that's your first reaction.
It hurts in Little League.
Yeah,
imagine
right.
how much it hurts now. So 1 out and 1 on. Now Jose Iglesias, who's serving as the DH tonight, 1 for 4. He doubled back in the first inning. Renato Nunez almost directly behind home plate.
That's if you're the umpire, you got to scoot over there, buddy. On deck circle. It's 10 feet to your right.
Pitchers have been known to take care of that on their own.
And you know, honestly, and this is for protection for the player, and we've seen it happen before. Was it Juan Encarnacion?
Yeah.
Ended up his career was ended because of a foul tip straight back. You want to be away from the hitter.
It hit him right in the eye.
That's right.
Ended his career. Well, the Mets will need a 9th inning rally to avoid a 5th consecutive loss. And with Atlanta well in front in their game, Mets in danger of falling 6.5 games out of first place with only 24 games to go after tonight. Line into left field, a base hit for Iglesias, his 2nd hit of the night. As the Orioles keep piling up the hits, that's 15 of them. And now Renato Nunez, who's already got himself a big night. A 3-run homer in the first, a solo shot in the 7th. Nunez has never had a 3-home-run game. Last 3-home-run game against the Mets was Corey Seager 3 years ago. Santander at second, Iglesias at first with 1 out. And Nunez takes a slider off the plate from Hughes, ball 1. The Orioles are looking to win their 2nd straight after losing the first 3 of their series to the Blue Jays in Buffalo. Nunez fouls off the sinker, and it's 1-1. What was the quote by Luis Rojas yesterday after the game? You can almost feel like time is running out on you.
He's very honest. I usually don't hear that, but he's right.
Well, it's a short season, and it's getting shorter all the time. That's why the way the Mets approached this game from a pitching standpoint was a little confusing.
Well, you had to be disappointed also that the players that you traded for could not make it into town to help.
One-two coming, and he struck him out with a slider. So Hughes gets Nunez, denies him a chance for a third home run, and there are 2 down in the inning.
2 good sliders in a row. The 2-1 right on the corner, and then started the next slider right on the corner and bent it about a foot outside. Sweeping slurve from Hughes.
So 2 out and 2 on. Now Chance Sisco, who is 1 for 4 tonight, a double back in the first inning against Hirado. Ariel Hirado went 4 innings, allowed 5 runs, 9 hits. Franklin Kilome 3 innings, 4 runs, 5 hits. And now Hughes trying to finish off the 8th. And a good sinker to start off Sisco, 0-1. And that slider in on the hands of Sisco, and it's 0-2.
Caught Sanchez on the end of the fingers.
That's no fun.
Nope. Oh, went
Bounced
under.
right under the shin guard and got him on the hand.
Yeah, he's hiding his hand and still gets hit.
Two on and 2 out, 0-2 to Sisco. And the slider misses down, 1-2. And Hughes gets Sisco to pop one up into left field. McNeil reels it in, and that retires the side. So the Orioles strand a pair in the 8th. Mets come to bat in the 9th, down 9-5. All right, thanks, Gary. Hard-throwing lefty Tanner Scott tries to finish this off for the Orioles in the 9th.
Well, you can see his numbers so far this year, just elevated here to get pitched this 9th inning with a 4-run lead. Scott's been good against left-handers, better against righties.
J.D. Davis will pinch hit for Ali Sanchez leading off in the 9th. First appearance for J.D. since Sunday when he left the game following his encounter with a 99-mile-an-hour Aroldis Chapman fastball on Saturday that got him in the left hip. Feeling better today and now pinch hitting. Nimmo and Conforto to follow. Mets down by 4 in the top of the 9th, and J.D. takes a fastball for a strike from Scott. Tanner Scott, the 5th Baltimore pitcher of the day. Thomas Eshelman is pitcher of record on the long side, despite giving up 2 runs in 1 inning. Paul Fry and Hunter Harvey have each contributed a scoreless inning. And J.D. fouls off the fastball, and it's 0-2. Mets will have Michael Wacha going tomorrow in the final game of this 2-game series against lefty John Means. Mets have hit 2 home runs tonight. They've banged out 11 hits, but it hasn't been nearly enough. And that's rolled out to the second baseman. Valleca making the play. And that's a 4-3 put out for the first out. So Davis is retired. And now Wilson Ramos is going to bat for Brandon Nimmo. So just trying to get a right-handed bat up against Tanner Scott. Mets had 7 left-hand hitters in the starting lineup tonight. So Ramos, who served as the cleanup hitter yesterday against the Marlins and went 0 for 4, bats for Nimmo, who had 2 hits tonight, but has really struggled against lefties this year. And that sails outside, ball 1.
Well, you have to like what you see in this Baltimore bullpen, right? With Harvey throwing 97, 98 miles an hour, the left-handed Scott with a big arm too.
And Fry was impressive as well. And foul tip on the fastball, and it's 1-1. Michael Conforto on deck. Not a save situation for Scott. With a 4-run lead in the 9th. And the slider in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. Braves are up 10-3 in Boston in the 9th. Marcelo Zuna has 3 home runs in that game. Happy Fenway.
He had a big night last night. It's an organization that lost 115 games 2 years ago, 108 last year. Maybe better times ahead.
Well, they got off to a great start this year. That's rolled slowly. And Ruiz sweeps it up and throws out Ramos. No, he came off the bag. Ramos was going to be out, except the first baseman Nunez came off the bag, at least according to Chris Conroy, the first base umpire.
Well, he better got this one right, because this play happened in slow motion all the way around. From Ruiz to Ramos running to Nunez catching.
And the Orioles are going to ask for a crew chief review. His foot came off the bag. The question is when his foot came off the bag. Was it before he caught it? That's an out.
It's an out after he caught it.
That's a bad call. So this one very well may be overturned.
It did look awkward afterwards, but he did a good job of reaching in there. I mean, Ramos could have taken his left arm off.
Well, that's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
Reaching into any runner, but particularly a guy the size of Ramos, even though he's not running particularly fast.
See, what he confused the umpire is that he reached back with his foot, like indicating that he hadn't touched it in the first place, but he had it.
Dan Iasonia and Bill Welke are the crew chiefs in the replay center. And the call is overturned, and that's the second out in the 9th.
I mean, really, that play happened in slow motion.
5-3 put out, and the Mets are down to their final out of the night, in danger of their 5th straight loss. Michael Conforto's gone 1 for 4 tonight. A pop fly single back in the 6th. Hit the ball very hard twice tonight. Once on a liner back to the pitcher, and once on a liner that went past the pitcher and was caught by the shortstop right behind second base. He takes a fastball for a strike. Jeff McNeil, a good night with the bat with 3 hits. Robinson Cano and Andres Jimenez with home runs. But the Mets down by 4 and down to their final out. And Conforto flies one out to left field. Pretty well hit. Mountcastle back right near the wall, and he makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Mountcastle goes back to the fence to grab it, and the Orioles have taken the opening game of this series. Renato Nunez with a pair of homers. He drove in 4. Anthony Santander with a home run. He drove in 3. 4 hits for Pat Valleca as the Orioles ring up 15 hits and outscore the Mets 9-5.
Some of the same old stuff by the Mets. Just undermanned as far as the starting pitcher is concerned. 5 runs given up by Jurado, and then the youngster Kilo May came in and gave up 4 more. Good offensive night for Luis Rojas' team on his 39th birthday, but not enough.
Kilome takes the loss after the Mets rallied to tie. The Orioles go back in front and do not look back, and the Mets fall 6 games under 500, their 5th consecutive loss, as Baltimore wins this game 9-5. 9-5 the final. Baltimore wins. We'll come back with more in just a moment.